discussion on merits and demerits of all these sources, means merits and demerits of external sources of recruitment. Alright, so let's have discussion about it. So let's understand merits and demerits of external sources of recruitment. Very first start with merits. But before starting, let me tell you one thing. Already we have had discussion about internal sources of recruitment. We discussed merits and demerits. So here what's gonna happen? Whatever the demerits were there in internal sources, you will find those points here in merits, and whatever the merits in the internal sources, you will find all those points here in demerits. Most of the points are similar. All right, so always keep that thing in your mind. Okay, now let's start with the merits. Very first is qualified personnel. Okay, so what happens, as it is written here, external sources help management to attract qualified and trained people to apply for vacant jobs in the organization. Like already I have explained you the meaning of external sources. The people are recruited from outside. Okay, so qualified people can be attracted, okay, and trained people can be invited to apply for the vacant jobs. Okay, so this is one advantage. Maybe possible that if an organization is going to fill the vacant post through internal sources of recruitment, then in that case they do not have the qualified personnel for that very post. Okay, but if they do the same job with external source of recruitment, then they must get the qualified personnel, right? So this is the merit. Another point is point number 2, wider choice. Obviously in internal source, what happens, the organization has limited choice. Okay, but here there is no limit. Okay, external sources provide wide choice and helps the enterprise to make right choice of candidates. Okay, more and more candidates are invited. Okay, and thereafter the best person is selected. Okay, so here the options are very wide. Okay, there is a wide choice. Understood the point? Point third is fresh talent. Yes, we already learned this point in internal source. It was a demerit. Okay, here it is a merit. The present employees may be insufficient or they may not fulfill the specification of the jobs to be filled. Through external recruitment, enterprise can expect to get fresh talented candidates and candidates from outside. See, what happens, the existing employees or old employees, they do not work with the same energy and enthusiasm. They lack in creativity, innovation. Okay, but the fresh talent means the new generation people. They come with fantastic energy, creativity and innovation, so the company somewhere gets the advantage of that. All right, let's move towards the point number 4, competitive spirit. External candidates are expected to be trained and talented, as internal candidates have to compete with them. It induces the existing employees to work harder to show better performance. See, as we have already studied about it, that external candidates are supposed to be talented, because more qualified people will be coming to the organization. Then just because of those, the existing and old employees also have to perform better. They always try their level best to compete with them, because if it happens that they keep on performing in the same manner and the new generation people come and start performing better than them, then they will lose their worth in the organization and they may not get the promotion. Okay, so that is why they also have competitive spirit among themselves. Okay, and they also start performing better. They also try their level best. Okay, so that is what the advantage. So there are 4 merits of external sources. Now let's have discussion about demerits. Okay, very first is dissatisfaction among existing staff. How? Recruitment from outside may cause dissatisfaction and frustration among the existing employees. They may feel that their chances of promotion are reduced. See, as we studied the competitive spirit merit, okay, the people who are able to compete, who are willingly competing with the new generation, they are happy because they are working hard. They know that there is no other option. But the people who are unable to compete, okay, you can say they have become old, they're not able to cope with the new technology and new challenges, okay, and they are not able to compete with the new generation people, then they feel dissatisfied. All right, and just because of frustration and all, they really start feeling disheartened, okay, because they realize that now there is no chance of promotion of those, because new generation people have come with new energy, only they will be promoted, we cannot perform better, so will not be promoted at all. Okay, so that kind of feeling gives them dissatisfaction and frustration. Okay, so this is the demerit. Another point is lengthy process. Yes, of course, if you compare the recruitment process through external sources with the internal sources, then obviously you will find that in case of external sources, the process becomes lengthy. It is a time consuming process as vacancies are publicized and enterprise has to wait for the response of prospective candidates. Okay, already we have discussed in the previous video the process of recruitment. Very first, the sources have to be identified, then sources have to be evaluated, and then the correct source is applied. Okay, after giving the advertisement or after applying the correct source, then the organization has to wait for the responses, and when the responses come, only then the selection process can start. Okay, so it is a lengthy process, it takes a lot of time, right? Costly process. Yes, of course it is going to be costly. If you compare this with internal source, of course it is costly one. It is very costly to recruit staff from external sources as a lot of money is spent on advertising and processing the applications. Whatever source of external recruitment you are going to use, you need to spend some amount of money. Maybe possible there are few sources like direct recruitment, okay, and employment exchanges, etc. Maybe possible in some sources less amount of money is spent like direct recruitment, casual callers or employment exchanges, but in most of the sources of external recruitment, what is there, these are very much expensive. Okay, these cost more in comparison to internal sources of recruitment. Understood the point? So these all are the merits and demerits of external sources. Like I always say that demerits and merits are always the part of any concept. Okay, but even then, despite of a few demerits, lot of merits are there of these external sources of recruitment. So external sources of recruitment are equally beneficial as internal sources are. Understood? Okay. So after discussing the merits and demerits of external sources of recruitment, it's time to have comparison between these two. Means comparison between internal and external sources of recruitment. Right? So let's have discussion about this. So when it comes to compare the internal sources with external sources, we get a lot of points to know, right? Okay, already we have studied about merits and demerits of both the sources. If you keep those points in mind, you can create the differences on your own. But even then, few points are here. On those bases, we will compare internal sources with external sources, or you can say we will create the difference between these two. Understood? So let's study. Very first base of difference is meaning. Already we know the meaning. Internal source is what? Recruitment is from within the organization. Means available resources, existing employee. Fine. And external sources, it is the recruitment from outside. Means people will be recruited from outside. Okay. Another point is basis. What is the base? In case of internal sources, it is generally based on seniority cum merit, right? Means if we need a person on a post, then either we transfer or promote. Okay, so it comes on seniority cum merit. Fine, both the things are given here. Now let's see in the external source, it is strictly based on merit and qualification. Okay, now here the real talent is valued. Fine, here seniority will not work. Here the qualification and merit is going to work. Okay, but in case of internal source, both things work, seniority as well as merit. Understood the point? Now, another point of difference is time involved. So already we have studied so far, in internal source in comparison to external source, less time is taken. It is less time consuming, and external sources, it is a time consuming exercise. Whatever source of recruitment you are going to apply, it is going to take a long time. Understood the point? Okay, now the point number 4, cost. Obviously we have already studied that point as well, that internal source is the cheaper source of recruitment in comparison to external sources. We see that in external sources it is an expensive source of recruitment. It involves time, expense and resources. Okay, so that is why it becomes costly. Fine. There are various sources which are very much expensive. For example, web publishing, advertisement, okay, and advertising on television, we have just discussed, okay, as well as the placement agencies and management consultants. These cost a lot. Fine. Now, next point of difference is reference. Okay, so in internal source, no reference of the employees is needed since all his records are available with the concern, because organization itself knows everything about the employees, so no recommendation is required. Fine. But in case of external source, yes, organization does not know about the profile of the person. Yes, it is there, they just come to know about the knowledge and mental ability and his confidence, etc., through the various process of selection. But what is the character of the candidate, that is not known. So for that purpose the references are required. Here it is also written, since enterprise does not know the person, references to the previous work, conduct and character are needed. In many organizations, character certificate is asked, work experience is asked, okay, or they may contact to your previous employer if you are going to switch your job, why you left that job, you may not committed any crime over there, etc. Fine. So for this is necessary. Okay, but in case of internal source it is not necessary, because employee already has been working with the organization, so his character is already known to the organization. Fine, because already they have run this process when the person was appointed first time. Okay, now the last point of difference is here, choice. So as we have studied that in internal source of recruitment there is a limited choice. Okay, because you can select a person only from the existing employees. As many employees are present in your organization, you can make choice out of those only. Fine, say for example only 100 employees are working, then you can choose out of 100 only. Okay, but in case of external source you are going to have wide choice. Okay, you can choose out of 1000, 4000, 4 lakh, as many applications are there. Okay, because through external sources you are going to have wider range of applicants. Okay, large number of applicants will be there, then definitely you have a lot of choice to select. Fine. So this was all about internal source and external source of recruitment. Fine, both these sources of recruitment are necessary, because in examination sometimes a question may come like that, do you think that a company can fully depend on internal source? Then you will have to say no, a company cannot depend fully on internal source, because they have to have the people from outside. Okay, because you cannot fill all the vacant posts through internal source, external sources are also necessary. Understood the point? So it was all about the comparison of internal and external sources of recruitment. Alright friends, today we have discussed, alright friends, in today's session we have discussed the complete process of recruitment, internal sources of recruitment as well as the external sources of recruitment. We have also discussed the merits and demerits of both of them, and as well as we have discussed the difference between these two. Alright, so this is all for today. Very soon I am going to meet you in the another video with the another topic in the same chapter. Till then, thank you, bye bye.